Hello, my name is Doug Leisure. I wanted to record this video to give you a demonstration of the donation portion of my software. And this is the 2025 release. And so I just wanted to go through and give you a demonstration of that part of it specifically. Now the software is designed so that we can record our donations at the end of the year, make our receipts for our donors. And to help us do that very efficiently, it also has in it the optional capability to track your expenses and create a income versus expense type of a report. But this video is focused specifically on the donation part. I'll make a separate video related specifically to the expense tracking and reporting part of it. Okay, so let's take a look at the software related to donations. Now, when you see the video, and if you decide this is something you want for your church, your nonprofit organization, or your other religious organizations, those are all the ones that are using the software. And you decide that you want a copy of it, just send me an email and I will send back to you in an email message a copy of this Excel file that is the donation software, as well as a user guide. It's like 140 pages, so it's a very robust user guide to assist you in setting up the software and using it. Let me take you through the steps. When you get the email from me, let me just cancel this. When you get the email from me, you'll want to extract the Excel file from the email message and then stick it on a folder. That's what most organizations do, a folder on your PC or your Mac on the local drive there. And once you've done that, then you open it up and you'll want to first of all set up your list of donors. If you're a church and you use the envelope system, you might already have envelope numbers assigned to your donors. Maybe you have church membership and you've assigned numbers there. If not, go ahead and just set up your donors and just assign the numbers sequentially. So we just need the list of donors, donor names, optionally address and email address, but assign donor numbers. Unique donor numbers to everyone. Okay, so once we add our donors, the next thing we do is we come over here to the parameters. Now, this is not intended to be a how to install it, how to set it up video. I'll do a separate one on that, but I just wanted to at least give you an overview of the things that you want to set up for the software to get started and get ready to using the donation portion of it. So the parameters, these are the options that you have within the software. So there are a variety of options that you can set to allow you to adjust and configure how the software works to allow it to work the way you need it to for your organization. It could be as simple as adding your church address or your organization name and address in here. It could be things like when I'm doing my report, my monthly report, do I want the print that in landscape or portrait orientation, and how many copies do I want to print each month? One of the things you definitely want to set up would be for the donations would be how many different categories or funds are you tracking? So how many and what are the names of those? So in this case, this particular church is using the general fund, missions, and charity. Those are the three categories that they're tracking. The parameters could be as radical as what language do you want to use the software in. So it does ship with a Spanish translation. And so if we select that, now everything displays in the Spanish language. I do have translations for other languages. So if you want to, for instance, use it in Korean, I can send you a copy of the Korean translation, and you just simply paste the Korean over top of what the Spanish is here, and then the Korean language will be available for you to use and run the software in the Korean language. Okay, back to the parameters for a second. So we just go down through it and adjust it for how we want the software to work. And if we're using it for the donations only, that is, we're not tracking the expenses, then we can set that parameter, say, hey, we're only doing donations. And when you're done with making your adjustments on the parameters, you come up here and I have given you a custom menu to use to interact with my software. So just like Excel has their standard menu items here with the different things Excel does normally, I've added my own menu to Excel to interact with the software. And so when we're done with adjusting our parameters, we come up here and we click on this option to adjust the tabs from the parameters. And so basically when you do that, it just goes through, reads the different parameters you set, and it'll go through each of the tabs and make adjustments to them based on the settings that you did in your parameters. Okay, that should be enough about that kind of startup information, so you have kind of an idea of how easy it is to get things prepared to go. Now I wanted to go through and give you a demonstration specifically of what it's like to use the software to do a donation. So when you first open, well, let's go ahead and just do it. It'll only take a second. When you open the software and you open it up in Microsoft Excel, and yes, it does require Excel on a PC or a Mac, the full version of Excel. And when you open it, it will ask the question, what is the date of your donation? So I'm going to change this and let's say we're going to be doing this for May 25th, one of the Sundays in the year 2025. Okay, so May 25th, 2025, that'll be my donation date. So in this example, our demonstration here, we are pretending that we are a church, and so we're doing our weekly donations. So we enter the date, and now we're ready to get started. So from the list of donors, we're going to enter the donor number and whether they gave us cash or checks, and what the amount was and how they wanted that to be distributed into the different categories. So let's just walk our way through that. So let's say it's donor number 2, and I guess what's important for you to understand here is we only type or enter in these yellow cells on the entry tab. The other tabs, or sorry, the other cells here have cell formulas in them to make the software work and function how it needs to, but these cells are protected. You're not allowed to modify them. That's on purpose. So only the yellow cells are where you can type. Okay, so donor number 2, yep, that's Natalie Stevenson, and she gave us $100 in cash. All right. The next question comes, how does she want that distributed, or what categories does she want that put into and how much in each category? So one of the things you'll notice here is that Natalie is showing up as red, and that's because we have entered a cash amount of $100, but we're out of balance, meaning we haven't distributed the correct amount into the different categories. So let's go ahead and do that. So she said on her envelope that she wanted to put $50 of that in general and $50 in missions. And as soon as we do that, now what we've distributed matches the money that she gave us. Okay, so this the entry for Natalie is back in balance. So the idea is we want to make sure to prevent errors. We want to make sure things are in balance before you move on to the next person. All right, let's go ahead and do another one. So if once your list of donors grows kind of large, you'll probably have some struggles remembering what donor numbers you've assigned. So under the donation software menu, we did give you an option to look up your donors by name. So if we click on the lookup donor, It'll bring up this little dialog box. And our next donor is Eliana McKenzie. So if we just start typing her name, it will, as we're typing, it will give us a list that grows shorter and shorter the more we type of every name that matches what we've typed so far. Once we found Eliana, we click on her and then we select her and click the OK, and that will go find her donor number based on the name and insert that. Okay, so in the case of Eliana, she gave us a check of $75. Okay, now you don't have to do this, but you can optionally you can put in a check number. So if you want to have a record of what check numbers were given for the checks, then you could put in the check number. So in this case, it's check number 564. That's one she gave us. And now, how did she want her funds, her $75 distributed? And she wanted that distributed evenly across all three of our categories. And again, the red went away once that row was in balance. So let's go on and do a couple more just so you can kind of get the idea. So typically when we're doing our list of donors, you will want to pick a number, and if you have a small number of donors, you might want to pick a number 100. If you have hundreds and hundreds of donors, then maybe you want to pick a number like 1,000 and use that for your loose offering, or your non-categorized, meaning cash was given, but there's no name associated with it. You might want to make a donor number for things like your non-charitable items, so that you're gonna, when somebody gives you $20 for maybe your Christmas flowers, you don't want to assign that to the person who gave you the $20 because it's not really a charitable donation. They received something for their $20. So therefore, it's really a non-charitable donation. So maybe you want to create a number for tracking those non-charitable things. That kind of an idea, right? So anyhow, you can make up your numbers, your donor numbers, and keep those things in mind. Maybe a loose offering, maybe a non-charitable kind of a donor number. But anyhow, as we were coming back here, we were saying that we also received offerings, cash offerings with no names associated with it. So we actually received $35.25. Oops, 0.25. And our definition is that any time we get loose offerings, there's no way to know what category it goes in. So we have, kind of like this rule that says we'll always put that in general. So we'll go ahead and put that in the general fund. Okay, let's do a couple more so you can just kind of see how this works. And let's say we have Emmy Shaw. Let's see, she's donor number 4, and she did not give us cash or check. She actually sent the donation in through Cash App. So we do have this, in addition to the cash amount, the check amount, we have this EFT, or common name for electronic fund transfer, meaning the amount that was donated already got transferred from the person into our bank account. It's already sitting there. So it's an EFT amount. And Emmy gave us $50, and she sent it through the Cash App. So over here we could put in the name of the EFT transfer type, so Cash App. And then the distribution here, she would roll $50 to go to general. One more thing I wanted to show you. So we'll go to our donor Diana, and Diana gave us a check for $50, and it was for check number check number 114. That was her check number. But she also put $10 cash in here, and that's because this week we're doing a special offering. In addition to her normal donations, she gave us $10 additional, and that is going to be for a music group that came in and ministered to us, and we took up a special donation for that group. So you could type in music group. You also have the option to use these little drop down arrows. Drop down, here we go. And then anything that we have used in prior weeks, they will be available to us to choose and offer the drop down. So if you're doing something new, you just enter it. If it's something from previous special offering, then you can look it up using the little drop down arrow. So yeah, so it's really just that simple then to do donations. And again, we're trying to keep things in balance as you move your way through row by row, make sure every row balances. Okay, so in addition to doing your donations, one of the things that might happen is as you're working down through your donations, you might start to run out of room. So let's say we did all of this and we see that we're running out of room. Well, within the donation software menu, we have an option here to insert additional entry rows. So that just puts in some blank rows for you to then continue doing your donation entry. So when you're running out, we have an option to handle that. Okay, next thing I'm going to look at is when we get to the end of our donations, we have sitting in front of us this pile of cash and as well a pile of checks. And so we want to also make sure that we have a validation, a comparison between what we entered above and what we have in total in front of us in cash and checks. And so the way we do that is we just ask you to come down through here and just simply count the quantity of each one of our coins or bills. So if we look at the stack in front of us, we'll see that we have 1 quarter, so we just enter 1. You're not entering 25 cents, you're entering the quantity. How many $1 bills? We count those up and we have, actually we have none of those. How about $5 bills? Yep, we have one of those. How about tens? We have 2 of those. $20 bills? Yep, we have one of those. How about 50s? Well, we have 2 $50 bills. And I want you to notice over here that the difference here, it's just comparing what we entered above versus what we've done here in this in this quantity here. As we do the entry, once things are in balance, the red goes away. So, but again, this is kind of comparing the quantity of each of the different bills and coins, and we add it all up. How does that compare to the cash that we entered in the details up above, making sure those are in balance. The last thing we want to do then is we come over here to where we can enter the check amounts. So just one check after another, we just enter the amounts, and it's going to do a comparison. So we look at it. Yep, we have a check for 75, and we have a check for 50. Since we enter those two amounts, we see that the red goes away. Everything is in balance. So that's another thing to help us out, so that before we consider ourselves complete and done, we know that things are balancing. All right. The other thing that is important about this, we will at the end then, when we're done, we will print this information so that you do have a paper record of these details. Now these details are kind of sensitive, so you don't want to pass those out to your church leadership. You don't want to share that. So guard those things. On a separate piece of paper, we do print this stuff, the information here at the bottom. And so one of the important things about the information here at the bottom is this information, if you think about it, this is exactly what you need for your bank deposit. So regarding the cash and checks that you have that you need to then deposit in your bank, hey, this is it. This is all the list of all the cash and the check amounts. So this becomes your bank deposit. Um, Remember the EFT that we got? Well, the EFT amount, that's already sitting in the bank. That was transferred into the bank directly. So it's recorded here for you, but it's not affecting the totals that we do up here because it's neither cash nor check. It's money that's already in the bank. So you'll see how much is sitting in the bank that was recorded here through the EFT and how much through the bank deposit, the total bank deposit. The other thing we do is we will print then the totals by category. Now this is something you might want to share with your church leadership, so they know what the totals are that came in for the week. All right, let's see. Before we kind of finish this whole thing off, no, let's go ahead and do that. But I did. There's one more small thing down here at the bottom I wanted to show you, related to those special offerings, because it is possible you'll have more than one special offering in the same week. It happens. So the other thing we'll do, right before you print it, it will run through a little process to update the information at the bottom so that you can see a list of all of the special offerings you did for that week. And I'm just going to force it to happen manually. This you don't need to do this each time, because the software will do this before it prints everything. But I just wanted to run it manually so you can kind of see that at the bottom. Then we have our totals here for our three different categories, and it says that we got $10 in specials, and this is the detail of those specials. So we had music group, $10. If you did more than one special, then we'd have 2 or 3 or 4 different entries here, and the total amounts given for that. Let's see. How about before we finish this off, we're going to do one more thing. I'm going to jump over here to the parameters. So one of the questions we have related to doing our donations. We do have some churches, lots of the nonprofits, who are receiving not only cash and check amounts, but they're receiving items, what is typically referred to as in-kind donations or non-cash type donations. So if our church is running a soup kitchen kind of a thing, and we have our people that are donating cans of soup, or we have a ministry to the mothers in our community who need diapers and blankets and that kind of stuff. We might be receiving blankets as non-cash items. And so again, that term is in-kind donations. And so we have an option to say whether or not we are using in-kind donations. Okay, right here, in-kind donations, yes or no. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on and say yes, and then we're going to adjust the tab so that that parameter gets moved all throughout the software. And so now we have another item, another column here for those in-kind donations. So let's take a look at what that would look like. So let's say Eliana, she also gave us a donation of different cans, a bunch of cans of soup that we would use then for our soup kitchen. And she brought that to us and said those have a value of $20. So we enter the amount in the in-kind donation, and then over here we type in cans of soup, or if we've used it in the past, we can also select it from the drop down, cans of soup. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that that we have the option of not only doing cash and check type things, but also the in-kind or the non-cash donations. And if we go ahead and refresh the list of specials at the bottom and take a look at that. So here you'll see we had $20 in-kind donations, we had $10 in specials, and then down here it says in-kind donations, we had $20 for cans of soup and $10 for the music group. So see how that's kind of spelled out down below. And again, this is the information that we'll print when we're done. Okay, so this represents a very good representation of what it would be like to do your donation entry. And once we are done doing all of this, we're done with recording the donation. Now we want to save it and print print the information we need, and then get ready for the next week. Okay, so from the donation software menu, again, this is my custom menu, we will choose the option that says entry is complete. So we're done doing all of the entry here on this entry tab. So everything is complete. So we click on that and let it go through its steps, and it tells us that it has saved a copy of actually our master. That's what this one is, where everything is housed in the master file. It's been saved, but we've also saved a copy of the details in this separate file right here. So it's a separate Excel file where we keep a copy of the details in electronic form. Okay, and in this case it says, oh, that's the last week of the month. You might want to print your monthly reports. Well, let's go ahead and let's take a look at those different reports that we have available to us, as well as looking at the donor receipts, so you get an idea of what that looks like. So, okay. Let's see, receipts. Let's start there first. Okay, so we will create a receipt for each one of your donors at the end of the year, and you just will print all of the receipt for every one of your donors using this menu option here, print the annual receipts. So at the end of the year, after we've recorded all of our donations, we print a receipt for each of the donors. Now, real quick regarding the donors, as you are setting up your donors, you do want to decide for each donor, should we print a receipt, yes or no, or you have the option to also print it to a PDF file. You also have the option to print, or actually not print anything, but actually create an email message with a PDF file attached to it that is the receipt for that person. So that's another option. Let me just say, if you're wanting to do that, you do need to understand in the PC world, your PC needs to have Microsoft Outlook installed, and Outlook has to be then connected to your backend email system, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever you're using. But this software will do the emailing through Microsoft Outlook, so that has to be on the PC and set up correctly. If you're on a Mac, then we're using the Macintosh mailing system. So again, that has to be set up and working correctly there. Okay, and we do that because there are certain people that don't want a receipt. Things like the loose offering, well, there's no person to give this to, so that would definitely be a no. We don't want to bother printing a receipt. Don't waste the paper on that. Let's see, so we would want to copy this because we added a new donor down here, paste that in. So that gives us a drop down, and we set it to no for the non-charitable donations. Okay, and so when it comes to receipt, like I say, we just run through this use this little menu item, and it's going to ask, do you want to print the receipts now for all of your donors? And you can say yes to do that. If you want to print a single donor, sometimes people come up to us in the middle of the year and want us to print a receipt for them. Well, then you just click no here, and then you can choose the person that you're doing the receipt for. Okay, but this is what's printed. So you have your the church information or your organization information and address at the top. Tells you what year the receipt is for. Your donor number and name and their address and all that stuff is put in, and then the donations by month. So these are totals by month, and that's what we'll print when you print it. Now we do give you different options, so let's take a look at that over under the parameters. So we're talking about the receipts now, the year-end receipts for your donors. Okay, here's an interesting one. What language do you want to print the receipt in? So if I'm the Korean church in California, and I have to run the software in Korean because my volunteers that are helping us only speak Korean, but I want my receipts to print in English because I'm going to be taking it to a tax consultant who speaks only English. Well, that we've given the option to choose the language for the receipt, and it could be different than the language you run the software in. So that's an interesting thing. Down here then we have the options for the receipts. Do I want to print them as monthly totals, which is what you just saw, or weekly totals? So let me show you what that looks like real quick. We'll just select that and then adjust tabs from parameters. And if we come back and look at our receipts, now we're seeing weekly totals. Okay, so that's one of the options. I want to show you something else here. Back to the parameters one last time, and there's an option to do details and even more details. What's called the all details. And so if we look at that, let's see, I'm going to make sure, yes, I want the printer dialog box to pop up when I print. The printer dialog box will give me the option to preview this. I don't want to print paper. I just want to show you what it looks like. So let's jump back here, and no, we don't need to go anywhere. Actually, we just want to print the receipt for all people. No, let's just do a single person, and yeah, Diana Tran will work. We'll just print a receipt for her. Okay, open the printer dialog box. Yes, please open the printer dialog box. And so here we can see if I do a preview. Oh, I am so sorry. We changed the parameter down here to all details, but I didn't do the adjust tabs. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. And so, yeah, so what the software is going to do is it's going to start putting in rows of information based on what Diana gave. If she gave twice, there's only going to be 2 rows of details here. If she gave 30 times, there'll be 30 rows of the details here. But the way to really see it, though, is when we print the receipt, it'll build this as it's printing a receipt for Diana. Let's do that. Diana Tran, open the dialog box, yes. And now we will see when we do the preview that this is what the receipt would look like. So again, the organization information and the year that we're doing it for, her information, and then just one row for every one of the times that she donated. But in addition to we see the specific dates that she gave. We see how much she gave. We see the in-kind and special donations, but we also see, did she give in cash or checks or EFT? And if we entered her check number, or actually any other, we also use that column for comments, they would be printed out on the receipt as well. So it's this idea of printing lots of detail for each one of the donors. So it's your choice whether you do the most. I think most churches just do the simple monthly totals, but some print out all the details when they do their receipts. All right, let me jump back here, and on the receipts, we'll go ahead and switch that back to monthly and adjust the tabs. Okay, I want to show you one other thing. Some of the organizations, like the nonprofits, they don't get this idea of they don't have this concept of each week getting donations on a single day. They're getting donations throughout the month. We also see that with the electronic fund transfers. A lot of times the donors are giving us stuff throughout the different days throughout the month. So the software does allow you then to also do your entry maybe once a month on the last day of the month, or maybe just in the middle of the month and the last day of the month, and only do it twice a month. And we do that through the option here on the entry. Do you want to make the column visible here where you can override the date that you put in when you launch the software? Do you want to override that date? So let me show you what that looks like. It's actually exposed here right now in the way it's set up currently. So when you open up, well, let's say we're doing it at the end of the month, the last day. So the date we put in is May 31, and then we put in our list of electronic fund donations. So let's say we got something for Eliana, and it was an EFT amount of $100. Now, she actually donated on the 8th of May, so it's kind of up to you. That's why I say we give you lots of options. You could just have it recorded as the last day of the month. Just fine. 5/31 is close enough. Or if you want to be really picky, you could then override that date and say no, that actually arrived on the 8th of May. So recording a specific date related to that row of donation. And then to finish it off, we still need to put in the amounts that you wanted in each of the different donation categories, so that row balances. But it's the idea that I can go through and do at the end of the month all of my EFT donations, or if I'm a nonprofit, I wait till the end of the month and I just record everything at one time, just to kind of simplify things for you. Okay, so this is Natalie, and she gave us $50, and she actually sent it in on the 16th. Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing we probably want to do here is say that how did it show up? So Eliana actually sent it through the Cash App, and Natalie sent it through the online giving thing called Tithely. Okay, and then she wanted her $50 to go to General. So things that you can adjust here: the date and how the EFT came into you. And so let's do another one. How about Emmy Shaw? Emmy sent us $75 on the 31st, and so you could, because we have the 31st here already, you could leave that blank, or you could put it in. That's really not gonna matter. It effectively would end up with the same date. But she actually used a credit card. That's how she sent it in. She said just distribute it evenly across our categories, so 25 in each category. So I just want to show you the idea that by using this override the donation date, using that column, one of the parameters, we can actually record specific dates on the different rows, and that allows us to do our like say wait till the end of the month to do all of our donations at one time, or makes a lot of sense, I think. If you're doing like the EFT stuff, just wait to the end of the month and do them all. So that just to give you some idea of some of the options we have within that. Same idea though, when we're done entering the EFT stuff, then we have no checks or cash to deal with because everything came in through EFT, but we do still have to do the entry is complete. Okay, let's take a look at one other thing. So you saw how it popped up and said, hey, it's the end of the month, you might want to run your report. So I just want to let you know there are some reports that we have in here. So under the reports, this is what it would look like. So this is something that we print out at the end of every month after we've gotten our last donation for the month. And basically this is something we share with our leadership team. And it gives us then the information, the monthly totals that came in by category. And it basically is showing us then how we are doing year to date. So we've completed the month of May, and this shows us by month, by category, what's come in, and down at the bottom is what has come in year to date. We also then have the details of our special donations and our in-kind donations, so we can get that information as well. And so this is something we can print here using the thing that says print monthly reports. The other thing we have is we also have the ability to compare the last 5 years. So if we're doing our donations in 2025, it'll look back over the previous 5 years. So over time, as you're using the software, you're going to end up with lots of years of data, and so that allows us then to do a comparison back across 5 years of giving and to see how things are progressing. All right, what didn't I show you? I guess the only thing I didn't show you is when we do that entry is complete, what it does is it actually copies the information for that particular donation, that particular week. It copies it over here to this annual tab, and the annual tab is going to, like say, over time is going to contain many years worth of data. It'll just always appends to the bottom, keeps growing. And so when we're doing our year-end receipts, doing any of our reports, it pulls the information that it uses from this annual tab. This is our history. I said there's going to be, over time, there's going to end up having multiple years of data in here. And so it's this option, this first option at the top, where you tell the software, okay, I have lots of years of data, but when I print a receipt, when I print a report, this is the year that you should select the data from. So ignore older data and just give me a receipt based on data in year 2025, or make my report based on year 2025. And just to kind of show you what that looks like, let's just move it back to year 2024. Take a look at the report here, and so now we are reporting totals on year 2024. So that's the idea of this parameter, where you select the year for which you want to do your reports and your receipts. Okay, I think that's a pretty good demonstration of the donation portion of the software. So I'll make another video that will talk about specifically the expense tracking side of it. All right, thank you.